All right, let me set the scene for you. You are someone that is consistently creating good content. You're putting blog articles on your website, you're creating social posts. People are starting to find you. They see your content in search or on social media. But the problem is, those people, those impressions that you're getting, aren't turning into actual leads in your pipeline. If that sounds familiar, then you need a lead magnet. A very common issue I find when starting to work with clients is that they are getting reach online. They are having some visibility with the content they're creating, and they understand the importance of being that favorite teacher. But the problem is that's not directly turning into leads and ultimately sales for their business. They're essentially just giving out free educational information and getting nothing back in return. So if that sounds like you, what you need to do is actually create a lead magnet. This is something that you can offer up to someone that's valuable, but in turn, they give you information that allows you to put them in your pipeline and start following up with them. I'm sure you've experienced this before, either downloading a guide, a checklist, maybe doing a quiz, or maybe even something lighter like attending a webinar, or maybe even signing up for a newsletter. Anytime that you are giving up any of your contact information for any kind of value in return, that is a lead magnet. And these are really crucial parts of a good digital sales strategy. And I want to emphasize they're crucial not just because they help you generate leads, which is super important, but if you have a really good lead magnet, it actually provides a good stepping stone of valuable content that allows someone to even build more trust with you and actually have a higher chance of buying from you too. The goal here is not simply to collect leads. It is to provide value in return for collecting leads. So in today's video, I want to break down some examples of lead magnets and hopefully get your gears turning about how you can start implementing them in your business. So my favorite way to think about lead magnets is that they help someone take the first step in the process of buying from you. So if you think about your buyer, the problem that they face, the solution you offer, that happy ending they're looking for at the end of it, what are those first couple steps that they need to take to understand their problem, understand the solution, and then feel confident to actually move forward? This is where a good lead magnet lies. So for example, let's pretend that we are selling residential solar. We have homeowners who are considering getting solar for their roof or for their house to help save energy and maybe be more environmentally friendly. Let's start thinking about some of the first steps in the process that we can use to create lead magnets. So if you're a homeowner, you might be wondering things like, is my roof compatible with a solar array? Or is the ROI of actually installing a solar panel setup going to actually pay off in time? Or maybe it's something like even understanding the basics of how solar panels work. These are all the things that are the first step in the process of a homeowner trying to figure out if they want to get solar. And oftentimes, these are things that someone is thinking about before they even want to talk to a sales rep at a solar company. So if you are a solar provider, and you're putting out good blog posts, good educational videos, someone might find you on there, but they're not ready to set up a call with your team yet. So what are some lead magnets that you can create? Just going off that list alone, let's break some things down. For instance, you could create an interactive calculator on your website that someone can fill out, talks about their location, which direction their roof faces, and answers a couple more questions. And from there, it can give them an ROI calculator. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect, but it'll be the first step in that process. Or maybe you can create a really informational checklist of all the things you need to have in place in order to have a good, successful installation. Talking about the age of your roof, the type of shingles you might have, the actual setup of your electricity, or maybe your actual utility provider. All those things people can consider that would be really good that you can put in a checklist or a guide on your website. These are all digital lead magnet examples that you can create once, send out once, and scale at a really high level. And of course, if someone fills it out, they will get helpful information. They'll be able to take that first step in the buying process, and you will get them as a lead. But it doesn't even need to be that complicated. You don't even need to create a guide or a checklist or some sort of free webinar. You can even offer up an assessment call. And this is a very, very common thing to do. But the key here is not to make it a sales call. Make it a true, let's say, roof assessment. And you can put that on your website. So if someone's thinking about solar, but they're not ready yet, you can offer up some sort of free service, some sort of free consultation that helps them understand if they're the right fit for your business. The big caveat here being is that many people are afraid of taking those steps of talking to someone like that because they assume, rightly so, it's just going to be a sales call. So when you're thinking about what kind of free service offering you can offer people, truly try and make it a defined service that is something that gives them a free sample of what it's like to work with you, but it's not just going to be a sales call. The key here is truly to provide value. It is incredibly important that as someone uses your lead magnet, it is a positive reflection of what it's like to work with you. It's basically a free sample, right, of what it's like to work with you and the value that they can get by working with you through that lead magnet. So for them, they build up that trust, and it's a no-brainer they're going to pick you as the vendor. So again, I encourage you to think about your customer, what problem it is that they face, and then what those first couple steps are in the process and how you can create a lead magnet out of that. There's typically 3 different lead magnet types I see. So number 1 is a lead magnet that helps reveal the problem. It's diagnostic. It's something that helps someone understand if they have the problem in the first place. So think of audits or quiz or checklists, things that allow people to understand, do I have this problem and will this solution make sense for me? So the second type is actually providing a successful first step in the process. So think of like a planning guide, something that allows someone to actually move forward in solving their problem. They don't solve the full problem that you can help with, but they can solve part of the problem and they can understand, hey, this firm actually can help me. So a good example of that is we have a content planning tool on our website. It's a free download, it's a PDF that allows someone to plan out their content for a month. It doesn't solve their entire problem of building out a digital strategy, but it helps solve that problem of how do I actually track and organize my content. And then finally, option number 3 is providing a free sample. So like I said before, if you are in the service industry, it's a little bit harder to provide a free sample unless you truly offer some sort of consultative call or some sort of, professional call that you can offer someone where you actually provide value as part of it. Of course, if you are selling baked goods, it's much easier to give out free samples at the farmer's market of your tasty cinnamon bread or any kind of, free sample from a physical good. But the point being, can you give them some sort of sample of what it's like to work with your team and the expertise that you have? So once you determine what you want to do of those 3 types, again, it's revealing a problem, it's taking that first step in the process, or providing some sort of free sample. The next step is to actually create the lead magnet. So think about the kind of medium that you want to use to do this. It can be educational content, it can be tools, it can be services, whatever makes sense for your specific case. Again, really common ones are guides, checklists, webinars, newsletters, things where you can provide value, but they have to offer up something in return. So think about what that is for your business. And then the key here, again, when you develop it, is to actually provide value. Spend a lot of time on it. Treat this person as if they were a customer of yours and build out some sort of valuable resource for them. Because again, this lead magnet will be a direct reflection on the quality of work that you do. If the lead magnet is ineffective, they're going to assume you're ineffective. But if the lead magnet provides tons of value, they're going to think you're a valuable vendor to work with. Another really important tip I want to make when it comes to doing a lead magnet is pick one audience and solve one problem. Don't try and have a lead magnet that does too much. If you do that, you're going to dilute down the actual effectiveness of your lead magnet, and you're also going to make it harder for someone to identify, hey, this lead magnet applies to me, I'm going to fill up my email address and get it. But if you have a lead magnet that serves one audience for one specific purpose, that's going to make it much more effective. And over time, you can build out more lead magnets. I recommend maybe building out 1 a quarter and continuing to build up more of them, put them on your website, put them on social, and over time you'll have a whole library of different lead magnets that applies to different audiences and different purposes, so it's much more easy for people to actually self-select the lead magnet that makes sense for them. And then finally, once you have it created, you need to actually deliver it. So if it's something like an email newsletter, you can use some sort of email newsletter service. Otherwise, you can do things like gated forms on your website. Me personally, I use MailChimp. They have landing pages, and then from there, I'll set up automations that will send out the deliverable, whether it's a PowerPoint or a PDF, or obviously if you're doing something like a webinar, you can use something like Zoom Webinar or any platform that has registration capabilities. The key here is to make it really easy for people to actually access that resource. You want it to be a very seamless process from typing in their information to actually getting that resource delivered to them. And then once you have it created, it's time to promote it. So you need to put your lead magnet all over the place. So think about your social profiles, both your personal pages, your business pages, of course your website, Anytime you give any kind of presentation, like an actual in-person presentation or a virtual presentation, if you can put a QR code in there for your lead magnet, again, depending on what it is, definitely anytime you have any visibility, you want to have that next step. Because like I mentioned at the onset of the video, it's very common for us to have direct call to actions, like contact us for a quote or contact us to get started. But if someone's not ready to actually take that direct step, you always want to offer up some sort of transitional call to action, which again, in this case would be your lead magnet. Okay, I know we've gone through a lot in this video, but the key thing I want you to remember here is that you are providing value. At the very top of the funnel, you're putting out educational content, you're building that online visibility. What you're doing today by creating a lead magnet is providing a valuable next step that someone can take to work with you. The goal here is to generate leads, but at the same time, actually be a valuable resource for someone so that when they're ready to buy, you are the person they pick.